July witnessed great international conspiracies unearthed in the spying game.
CIA agents posing as buyers for other countries were sent to Warsaw and other communist capitals to buy weapons for the Mujahideen.
Trace the Holocaust from its genesis in the Nazis, a warning from history.
In the 12 years of his rule in Germany, Hitler produced the biggest confusion in government that has ever existed in a civilized state.
Come fly with BBC World as we take off into the wild blue yonder for Aviation Week. From Icarus to the stealth bomber, follow dreamers and engineers as they soar into the ether. And come back down to earth as football fever sweeps the globe in July. Follow the passion and the broken dreams of the beautiful game with Euro 2000. All life is here. July highlights on BBC World.
You're watching BBC World.
Another arrest over the deaths of Chinese immigrants. European Union leaders clinch a deal on savings tax despite Austria's attempts to block it. And Belgium says Britain didn't do enough to stop the hooligans travelling to Euro 2000. This is BBC News. Hello, I'm Gavin Esler. We're broadcasting from our Westminster studios because of power problems in and around BBC Television Centre in West London. A man's been arrested by Dutch police in connection with the deaths of 58 Chinese immigrants. The victims were discovered when a lorry was inspected at the port of Dover in southern England. They all appear to have suffocated. 2 survived television output. The television centre was evacuated and staff set up an emergency newsroom here in Westminster.
Now, before I press on, another apology for the rather gloomy lighting. We've got severe power problems here in West London, so if I disappear from your screens, you'll know why. In the meantime, we'll carry...
BBC News tonight making its own news. Hugh Edwards was presenting BBC One's main bulletin when things started to go wrong. The final moment came a few minutes later during a report on Euro 2000.
Bypasses Belgian border controls.
Screens went blank as the power failed. Staff were immediately ordered to leave Television Centre as alarm systems were also affected. News 24 was among the casualties, so too were network radio services.
From a given moment in the show, we were expecting to fall off air, as we say, simply because we were warned that the generator was having problems and that it might just pack up for good. And when that happened, it happened during a report, and it just went, and there was a huge fizzle in the studio. The lights just disappeared with a big bang, and we were left there sitting in glorious isolation in complete darkness, from 6 million viewers to none in 1 second. It was quite an experience.
Fire crews were called as the BBC's own backup generator burst into flames. This unprecedented loss of television and radio services took everyone from the Director General downwards by surprise.
I don't think you can account for losing all your power and then your backup generator is not working. But I mean, what we'll obviously review it again and say what went wrong. I mean, there are certain things that it's clearly haven't worked properly, like the computer systems here aren't working properly. They ought to be.
Staff had to be bussed to other studios in London to prepare programmes. Regional output was largely unaffected. Few people can remember a time when practically all the BBC's network services went off air at the same time. An investigation has now been launched into why the original power system failed and why the BBC's own backup system also couldn't cope. Duncan Kennedy, BBC News, Television Centre.
China has turned